25 years on the air there.
Now, that may have been the first great last radio station.
It was.
It really was. You know, Mike had the feel for what localism is all about, and we tried to duplicate and replicate a lot of the things that he stood for there. And the old days of WAIN, when we were all together, you, me, Don, and we were a part of that operation. We tried to reintegrate that back here into Wave, the last great radio station.
Michael's
maybe,
always,
I don't know.
Michael's always more of a father figure because Mike knew I loved to be mischievous and I got into stuff.
We're going to get into that in just a second.
Yeah, okay.
Don?
Oh, just stay tuned, folks. It's coming up, will you?
All right.
It's like this. Larry was a wild guy, Stan, the rock and roll man at night. And you know, disc jockeys are, you know, they're notoriously wild guys. And, well, I was known a little bit as an agitator. I put him up to a lot of stuff. I'm not going to tell some of you on him, too.
And then when somebody complained, Mike said, he did what?
I wouldn't do that. I wasn't guilty of none of that.
Don, tell us a little bit about how you got started, what you remember about your first days in radio, some of the early on stuff.
Well, some of the early on stuff, of course, Larry and I started out, and also some of the early days at WAIN with Alan and everything. It's been so long ago, it's hard to believe it's been 30 years ago, but a lot of it kind of slips your mind over time. But anyway, it's been a lot of fun times and a lot of great stories, and we just kind of reminisce, I guess, a little bit about some of those today, Larry.
How many stations have you been on? What stations have you been on?
Let's see, I've been on WTCO, WAIN, GRK, Hodgenville for a while, WLCB,
yeah.
And Elizabethtown at WQXE, and in fact, WIDS for a little while. Back
so
years
you worked for
ago.
Ellen years ago.
Yeah.
That has been a long time ago, Don.
That was a long time ago. What was it, 82, something like that for a while?
81.
81?
81, 82, yeah.
I remember your liner on there, Ideas 1190,
Yeah.
WIDS, Russell Springs.
Concept at the time. Larry, let's do a couple of phone calls, and then we'll get back and talk to some of the local folks in the studio. Look here, Pupils Passmore is in this morning. Drove all the way up here from Dunville. Pupils, you always are a regular guest on our Saturday morning show. Now, I know you've been a friend of Larry's for a long time.
Well, I've known Larry for a long time. I congratulate them, both of them, for 30 years on the radio. But a lot of people don't know that they was, both Larry and Don was both in their 50s when they started. But they do good to be in their mid-80s now. But I listen to them all the time, and I like the music and the songs they play, and I just wanted to say thank you all for being on the radio, and I listen to y'all all the time on ridingthewave.com.
Did your wife ever come home?
Would you tell us about your wife? Your wife left you as a tragic thing, and we want to get that on tape here. We are recording the show kind of for for posterity.
Well, I wish y'all hadn't brought that up or anything. She done left me last fall. Last summer she went and she said she don't strip tobacco, but I don't think you'll strip tobacco in June or July.
She wasn't leaving late at night. Wasn't leaving late at night or anything, was she?
Well, she left about 10:30, 11 o'clock. Said she was going to go stripping, and I thought it was stripping tobacco, but I don't think it was.
Pupils, thanks for coming. How's everything in Dunville?
Well, it's pretty good. We eat a lot of rotten bananas. Cutting a lot of tobacco.
Times are tough, yeah.
But thank you all for being on 92.7 Wave.
All right. I've got Pupils in here this morning.
Well, we couldn't have made it without him.
No, I knew he was coming in, and I was afraid he wouldn't make it up there. His car's not in the best of shape. That Rambler he's driving. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he had to be pushed and jumped this morning, but he made it up here. All right. How about flipping over and talk to some of the guys the other day from Elizabethtown? We'll play that cut here first. I talked to them Friday afternoon and told them we were going to air that this morning. And I'm already laughing to the point I've got tears in my eyes this morning. But let's play a clip of that, and we'll come back in and talk to some people.
I thought we'd have a little bit of fun, at least get a couple of people on the phone that have worked with or know Larry and Don both. A very unique situation where they're both celebrating their 30th radio anniversary today. So the first person I talked to was Bill Evans. Bill Evans owns WQXE in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. He's been around this business for a long, long time. Also runs a successful company in broadcast company in Bowling Green. So we asked him about Don first. Bill refused to make any comments whatsoever about Larry Smith on the radio. So we got Bill Evans here on the phone. This is Don's old boss from Quixie, WQXE in Elizabethtown. Bill, what do you remember most about Don Salmon? I know you couldn't get a word in edgewise when he was around.
Don Salmon is one of the world's best gentlemen. He is a most helpful individual and just a joy to be around. He has a way of waiting for you to speak first, and he just sort of is quiet, like you say, but he always has great ideas. He solves a lot of problems, but he is just a good, kind person.
For a little while, Don and Larry in Elizabethtown worked on competing radio stations. So I called Larry's old program director, Cale Tharp, at Oldies 103.5, now WAKY. So I asked Cale to share a few memories of his days with Uncle Lair.
You know, you can't really roast Don because, you know, he's just a good guy. You know, I've never known Don to say anything bad about anybody, so, you know, it's kind of hard to do that. But Don, I first met Don at WLCB in Hodgenville back in the early 80s using the name Steve Rivers.
So Don Salmon was Steve Rivers. I never knew that.
Yes.
He's kept his secret. So, you know, it's all,
well, then,
his past is going to come back to haunt him here.
Learn something about him. And his brother Delno worked there, too.
Yes, he did.
And Delno helped me get started in 1983 in Hodgenville. And I've kept up with Don over the years. Just a super guy. And I'm glad to hear he's doing well down there.
And Cale, you went on to WAMZ in Louisville after that, right? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Worked there for several years. And now I'm here at Big Cat World 5.5 in E-Town. I've been here, well, June was 8 years.
And you're doing a wonderful job as program director there, might add.
Well, thank you very much.
I love your station.
Thank you. Now, as far as Larry Smith, how much hard drive space do you have?
Well, we got an editor on here, so I can cut out the parts that probably aren't for broadcast.
Yeah.
Or for human consumption.
Larry, I don't know, what can I say about Larry Smith? Talented guy, one of the most talented people you'll ever meet. Can talk you out of anything. And can
How about your shorts?
He can sell a ketchup popsicle to a woman in white gloves, you know? But people love Larry. I mean, his listeners, he knows them all by first name, and, you know, they just eat him up. Whatever station he's on, hard to believe he's already been there with you for 5 years.
Yeah, it is. That's incredible. I think it's the longest time he's ever worked anywhere.
Yeah. He sounds good. Don sounds good. Your station sounds good. I got to get down there one of these days. Larry invites me down all the time, but I never get that lunch promise with it. You know, I'm always the one who's got to buy his lunch. You know,
it works for me the same way. I've noticed that with Larry. Yeah.
But congratulations to both of them. That's great. And this is the 18th. Is that the day you're talking about?
Right. Yes.
Well, remind both of them that the 19th is my birthday. Okay.
Oh, they're listening right now. Okay. Yeah, look for that care package in the mail.
Sure.
Yeah, checks in the mail.
All right.
Cale, thanks so much for sharing your memories.
Alan, thank you.
At least the ones that were airable.
Okay.
Okay.
See you, buddy.
Have a good one.
Bye.
And once again, this is Alan Reed. I'm just very fortunate to run into these guys as young apprentices in the radio industry in 1977. Don Salmon and Larry Smith, we salute you. 30 years ago today, it was your tonsils that tickled the microphones and the ears of listeners everywhere. Congratulations.
Some foolishness there. There were parts of that, Larry, I honest to God had to edit out. Yeah, you didn't hear it all. Oh, yeah. There were things that couldn't air on this. We'd be running out